Hey everybody, Jim Powers with SP Live Missouri, and we are in the midst of the district playoffs, the district championships coming up this Friday here in the state of Missouri. And a team in the St. Louis area kind of started the year underneath the radar, but boy, have they hit the scene hard over the last part of the season and here in the district tournament. It's Rockwood Summit, and the Falcons have had a terrific year, undefeated so far, first time in school history. And joining us is their head coach, Eric Stewart. And Stu, thanks so much for taking the time this morning. And what a season for you guys. School history, undefeated, going into the district final against Eureka on Friday night.
Yeah, it's been a fun ride for sure. I think first time in my life as a player, coach, or basically anything I've been or a fan, been undefeated. It's been a lot of fun coaching this group of kids. Seeing them step up from starting in June all the way till now. So yeah, it's been a fun ride for sure.
Talk about the differences too, because last year we weren't sure what the world was going to happen. We weren't sure if we were going to get games in, how many games in, weren't allowed to do anything in the summer. Talk about how important it was to kind of get the kids back to some sense of normalcy, with summer workouts and, coming off of the COVID year last year.
Yeah. And you know what, that COVID year, actually getting games I think would be considered a huge part of our success this year. We had 4 freshmen and a bunch of sophomores starting for us and a bunch of juniors starting for us last year. So getting those 5 games and getting those kids kind of getting their feet wet was really big for us. We kind of treated it like spring ball because like in college, we weren't sure if we were going to play in the spring or the fall or if even get a season at all last year. So we kind of just went into every day last fall is kind of like, hey, it's an opportunity to practice, get better at football, and let's prepare ourselves for what we think will be a pretty solid 22 season. And, I think that was huge. And then getting to actually have a normal summer, strength and conditioning, work on culture building, team building stuff over the summer. I mean, that was huge being able to do that this year and not having that, I guess we call it just uncertainty was really nice.
Yeah, no doubt. You guys took total advantage of that. And I'm going to talk defense here in a second because that's what I've been singing the praise on with you guys all year long. But a lot of people don't realize you got a pretty good offense there. And Drew Crowbath and Elijah Stevens, those two have just really, really been the spearheads for you guys.
Drew, I think, is very underappreciated athlete. He's a 3-sport kid here at the school. I don't think he's playing basketball this year because he wants to focus on winter track, but he's one of the top 400 kids, runners in the state there. And I think he finally starting to see him really start to see statistically as well. This last week, I think he had 9 receptions for 155 and 2 touchdowns and 2 picks on defense. So yeah, Drew's a special player. He'll be a 3-year starter. He's a 3-year starter for us. His first year was that 2019 team that went 10-3 and lost to Ladue in the state and in the district championship. But yeah, Drew's a special athlete. I think he's still deciding whether he wants to do football or track in the next level because I think he can do both. I think he's that good of a player. And then Eli's had a very good season, very explosive athlete. We're blessed to have about 4 running backs that we trust to carry the rock. And so we're throwing out fresh bodies running at you at all times there with the RBs. Doriante Turman's had a good year too. I think he's our second leading rusher. And Dory does a lot of grunt work, that's for sure. And then I think Mason Brown delivers the ball pretty well now that he's 100% after he tore his MCL against Parkway Central, which I think is the 3rd or 4th game of the year. So he's at almost 1,000 yards throwing and has only really played 20 quarters because he didn't play the second half of a lot of games this year when we were up.
Talk a little bit about Mason. And the one thing that I've been very impressed with him is, he's a leader out there and he really fits the team in good situations. He's able to make that check down if need be. He's able to look at things and make some adjustments on the fly. And to me, that's the sign of a veteran guy that gets the offense that you want to put them into.
Yeah, Mason, he might have been a 3-year starter for us, but he had Andrew Klump blocking him in 2019 as a sophomore. But then after that year, he put in a lot of work, and I think that's what kids really respect is that Mason does all of the extra stuff outside of this, and then he gets kids going. He got kids over the summer to come up and throw, and during COVID, he was running workouts with kids when we weren't able to. So I think kids respect the work, and that gives him the ability then to be able to get on someone a little bit. Like, hey, you're not pulling your weight. He can do that. It's also nice that he's got a 27 ACT and has a 4.2 core GPA, and he can correct things when I maybe mess it up.
It's good to have that kind of guy out there.
he makes me ride a lot, which is nice to have. It doesn't hurt that he's 6'3", 215 pounds either, and can sling it.
Let's talk about the defense, and Coach Diffley will not let me live it down if we don't talk about the defense. And my gosh, Stu, I mean, from week one, this defense has done nothing but fly around. You know, they're getting to the ball, they're causing turnovers, they're scoring. I mean, you guys' defense, I think at one point was only giving up 4 points a game this season.
Right now it's 3.1.
Yeah.
34 points all year, and they've scored 54 points in touchdowns and safeties. So yeah, they fly around. That's for sure. There's speed at every position.
Yeah, and I think, Dom Nenninger has done just a terrific job for you guys. 65 tackles, just really, really just once again, he's one leader out there for your defensive side of things that can put the kids in right situations.
Yeah, Dom's a pretty special player. He started as a freshman on the 2019 team. And I mean, some of the stuff he does, I mean, you just kind of like, whoa. Whatever the D line doesn't blow up, he's there. And he takes care of it. I mean, on a lot of teams, he probably has 100 tackles, but the D line right now is pretty darn good. And doesn't really allow things to get to that next level. But if they do, he's there. I think he had 17 tackles against Parkway Central, and I mean, it's just, he's a special athlete out there.
Talk about your D-line, and, once again, me and you talk about it all the time. The big boys up front don't get the credit they deserve. And you guys, your O-line and D-line has just been absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, that D-line group, it's kind of funny, like only one of them has an ineligible number. We don't have a kid over 220 pounds up front on the whole defense. Like Nenninger he's like our third heaviest kid out there, but Merhoff and Bentrup at the ends, I mean, those two, I think Merhoff has like 19 tackles for loss, 7 sacks. Bentrup's our weak side guy, so he's chasing a lot of stuff down. He's got like 12 tackles for loss and 7 sacks. Then inside, you've got Henry Armstrong, who's another 18 tackle for loss kid and 7 sacks. And then and they're all really good, but I think the best one of them is a converted safety, Brandon Perks. And he's the most disruptive and violent out of that group. I mean, it's fun to watch them because you just expect them to make a play whenever you need it. And that happened last week too against Lafayette. I mean, they were threatening there at the end of the half. All of a sudden, the last play of the half, they're out of timeouts. We need a sack. They're on the 15-yard line. Here comes Merhoff around the edge with him and Bentrup and Perks are all in on a sack, and you're like, okay, well, let's get off the sideline. Let's get into the locker room. It's just, you kind of gotten to expect it in key situations now.
Seems like the district is the Rockwood School District, so to say. I mean, last week you guys took care of Lafayette. This week, a team that you guys haven't played in 12 years. And it's hard to believe that, you guys in Eureka have not been able to work the schedules out because of conference stuff and other non-con games. But how excited are you guys to take on a very good Eureka team? Jake's done a terrific job. We all know what he's done over there. But how excited are you guys to be in this situation to take on your neighboring school?
Well, it's even better because I think we have a pretty friendly relationship with each other because we do a lot of stuff over the summer with Eureka. Like we go out there and we do 7-on-7 with them. We do a couple competition days in June where we're actually doing jamboree style work, not full go, but I mean, we work with Eureka a lot over the summer, so it's good to finally get it a situation where it matters, because our kids, they're pretty competitive with each other all summer, and now it's actually going to matter. And that's a pretty cool feeling. And Jake and I are pretty close, and we're good buddies. So I like to have the fact that I like to coach against people I like and know. There's a lot of respect there, and I'm pretty excited about the chance to compete.
Class 5 this year is, in my mind, it's the best classification in the state. I mean, there's so many great teams, and so many great teams here in the area between you guys, Eureka, you've got Jackson that's doing Jackson things. Then you got Holt. I mean, that's really played well on the other side of the bracket. When you look at the bracket, and don't, I know the coach speak is coming, because I know you're not looking past Eureka because you know what's ahead of you. But just talk a little bit about Class 5 and just how loaded it is this year in the state tournament.
I think top to bottom, at this point, you look at everybody that's playing for district titles this week. You've got a Carthage, who was they were the champion against Jackson before. Then Jackson was a champion the COVID year last year. You've got Zumwalt North and Chaminade playing, who are pretty darn good. You've got Holt and Helias, who was the Class 4 state champion last year. Then you've got Platte County, who's been in the state championship game or semifinals at the very least. You've got a 9-0 Lebanon. You've got Webb, who is Webb, and I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody in there, but there's a lot of really good teams right now. There's nobody left in Class 5 that shouldn't be there. And it's a lot of fun it's a lot of fun to play in that type of situation where if you come out of that, you're the best, and you've been tested all the way through. There's no cupcake game left in Class 5, that's for sure.
And last, I'll ask you this: the community support. I know what Summit's all about, but for people that have not, been to a Rockwood Summit game, the community support is just unreal. The 029 Nation has been coming out in full force for you guys.
Yeah, definitely. This area, it needed this. I think coming off the last 2 years where kids were getting sports canceled, and you were just in uncertainty abound. This area needed it, and I think just the area in general in St. Louis needed this. Is a freaking darn good year of football, soccer, whatever, right? Like every sport at Summit right now has been really good. And it's trickling down, and there's excitement all the way down to the elementary schools. You see our kids running around in Summit football or junior Falcons jerseys. There's 110, 115 kids in 4th through 8th grade that want to play football now. There's a very successful soccer program going in the quarterfinals against Zumwalt South on Saturday. You have our girls cross country team that just gotten 4th in state this past weekend. There's a buzz around this community. There's a buzz right now, and it's great to see. Packed stands on Friday nights. People were just thirsty for this. They needed it. And then the fact that we can come out and have a great year like this just increases that buzz and that community feeling. I mean, I live out here. I live 2 minutes from school, and my neighbors, who some of them don't have any connection to our football program, they're talking to me about it. And that's a really good feeling to have. And we're really trying to build it and continue progressing that beyond this year. I think, I'm anticipating even better numbers next year in our junior program. I'm anticipating even better numbers at our high school program next year. People are excited, kids are excited, and that's really what it comes down to. It really is. The school becomes an institution for your community in that regard.
Awesome. Well, Stu, thanks so much for the time. Good luck this week. I know I'll be watching the live stream on Friday night, but excited for what Summit's done and excited to see where the districts are going to take everybody on Friday night and the state playoffs moving forward. But thanks so much and good luck this weekend.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate all you do for high school sports, Jim.
Eric Stewart, the head coach of Rockwood Summit, joins us here on SB Live Missouri, and we'll be doing coaches interviews all throughout the rest of the playoffs and really getting into, some of the great matchups that we are going to see between now and the road to Columbia and Faroe Field here in the next couple weeks. Thanks so much for tuning in.